Chapter 3: The Outspoken Rebel. As each day passed, the heretic's voice resonated louder and more passionately. His unwavering conviction that governments existed to protect and maintain the rights of civilians set him apart in a world where conformity was the prevailing norm. With every speech, every essay, and every conversation, he became a beacon of dissent, a voice that challenged the established order with uncompromising fervor. The heretic's message was clear and unequivocal. Governments were meant to be the custodians of individual rights and freedoms, not the arbiters of conformity or oppression. His words were a clarion call for a society where the rights of every citizen were safeguarded and cherished above all else. As he continued to speak out, the heretic drew attention from those who listened. Some admired his courage and the clarity of his ideas, finding inspiration in his unwavering commitment to the principles of justice and liberty. They saw in him a symbol of hope, a voice that articulated the aspirations of those who yearned for a more just and equitable world. But for every admirer, there were those who opposed him vehemently. The heretic's message challenged deeply ingrained beliefs and the interests of those in power. He faced not only skepticism and criticism but also outright hostility and backlash from those who saw him as a threat to the status quo. The more he spoke, the more he stirred the waters of dissent, causing ripples that spread far and wide. His influence extended beyond the gatherings of like-minded individuals. It reached into the broader public consciousness, igniting debates and discussions about the role of government and the value of individual rights. The heretic was aware of the risks he faced as his voice grew in prominence. He knew that those in power would not take kindly to his challenges, and that his advocacy for change would make him a target. But he was undeterred, for he understood that the power of dissent lay in its ability to challenge the prevailing norms, to provoke thought, and to inspire others to question and demand a better world. As he continued to speak out, the heretic's journey of dissent gained momentum, and his voice became a force to be reckoned with. He was prepared for the battles, both intellectual and ideological, that lay ahead, for he believed that in a society that prized conformity, dissent could be the catalyst for change, the spark that ignited a brighter and more just future for all. In the heart of the bustling city, the heretic had indeed become a figure of notoriety, a person whose views cut against the grain of the established norms that had long governed the lives of its citizens. His speeches, delivered with a passionate eloquence that was impossible to ignore, had the power to captivate and inspire. They resonated deeply with those who had quietly questioned the status quo but had never before dared to speak up. Word of the heretic's presence and his unwavering advocacy for individual rights and freedom spread like wildfire through the city's streets and alleyways. People from all walks of life found themselves drawn to his speeches, eager to hear a voice that articulated the yearnings of their hearts and the aspirations they had long held in secret. His audiences were diverse, spanning the spectrum of society, from intellectuals and students to workers and families. The heretic's ability to speak to the universal desire for justice and liberty transcended social boundaries, bringing together a tapestry of voices that had previously been silenced by fear or conformity. As he stood before his audiences, the heretic's words were not just powerful, they were transformative. His eloquence had the ability to awaken dormant passions, to ignite the fires of dissent, and to embolden those who had long felt disempowered. People who had once whispered their doubts and frustrations in hushed tones now found themselves emboldened to speak their minds, to question the established order, and to demand a society that valued individuality and freedom. The heretic's influence went beyond the spoken word. It breathed life into a burgeoning movement for change. However, the heretic's notoriety also drew the attention of those who sought to suppress his message. Those in power saw him as a thorn in their side, a voice that challenged their authority and the carefully constructed facade of conformity they had maintained for so long. As a result, he faced not only admiration but also formidable opposition and threats to his safety. But the heretic remained undaunted. His convictions were unwavering, his commitment to the cause unshakable. He understood that the path he had chosen was fraught with challenges, but he also believed that in a society that prized conformity above all else, dissent could be the spark that ignited change. In the heart of the bustling city, the heretic's voice echoed through the streets, a powerful reminder that the pursuit of justice and liberty was a cause worth fighting for. He had become a symbol of hope, a rallying point for those who believed in a better world, and a testament to the enduring power of dissent in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Emma and the heretic, two souls ignited by the fire of dissent, shared a profound and uncommon vision, a vision of a society where governments were not oppressors but protectors of individual rights, where the right to travel was considered sacred and inviolable, and where dissent was not stifled but encouraged as a catalyst for progress. They recognized in each other kindred spirits, united by their unwavering belief in the power of ideas to transform the world. Their meeting had been serendipitous, a collision of ideologies and aspirations that ignited a powerful partnership. From the moment they first crossed paths at one of the gatherings of free thinkers, they sensed a deep connection, a shared commitment to a cause greater than themselves. In each other's company, Emma and the heretic found not only intellectual resonance but also a profound sense of camaraderie. Their conversations were a symphony of ideas, a dialogue that flowed seamlessly as they explored the depths of their shared convictions and exchanged insights on how to advance their vision for a more just and enlightened society. Their partnership extended beyond the realm of ideas. They collaborated on essays, speeches, and initiatives that boldly challenged the prevailing norms. Their collective efforts were a testament to the power of collaboration, demonstrating that the strength of conviction multiplied when joined with like-minded individuals. Together, Emma and the heretic became a formidable force for change. Their voices, once separate and isolated, now carried the weight of a shared vision, a vision of a world where governments existed to protect and uphold the rights of their citizens, where the right to travel was regarded as a fundamental human right, and where dissent was not only tolerated but celebrated as a vital aspect of civic life. Their alliance was a beacon of hope in a world that often sought to suppress dissent. They stood as living embodiments of the transformative power of ideas and the enduring belief that change was not only possible but essential for the betterment of society. Emma and the heretic knew that the path they had chosen was fraught with challenges, that they would face opposition and intimidation from those in power. But their shared vision and unwavering commitment to their cause fortified their resolve. They understood that their partnership was not just about themselves, but about the countless others who longed for a world where justice and liberty prevailed. As they stood side by side, their voices resonated with clarity and purpose, inspiring those around them to join their mission, to question the established norms, and to demand a society that cherished individuality and the relentless pursuit of truth. Together, they were more than just advocates for change. They were architects of a brighter and freer future, determined to leave a legacy of dissent and enlightenment for generations to come. As the heretic and Emma began to work together, they formed a formidable and complementary team. His impassioned oratory, delivered with fervor and eloquence, found its counterpart in Emma's keen investigative skills and her ability to effectively communicate their message to a broader audience. Together, they became outspoken rebels, challenging the government's policies and advocating for a more just and equitable society. The heretic's speeches were the embodiment of their shared convictions, a powerful call to action that stirred the hearts of those who heard him. He spoke with a passion that was both compelling and contagious, inspiring people to question the established order and demand change. His words resonated with those who yearned for a society that valued individual rights and freedoms above all else. Emma, on the other hand, brought a different set of skills to the partnership. Her investigative prowess allowed her to uncover the intricacies of government policies and actions, revealing the hidden truths that lay beneath the surface. She meticulously gathered evidence, conducted research, and exposed the injustices and abuses perpetrated by those in power. But Emma's talents extended beyond investigative work. She had a gift for distilling complex ideas and information into accessible and compelling narratives. Her ability to communicate their message effectively made it possible for a broader audience to grasp the importance of their cause and to join their movement for change. Together, the Heretic and Emma complemented each other perfectly. He provided the passionate voice and the moral clarity that galvanized their supporters, while she offered the analytical rigor and the communication skills necessary to convey their message to a wider public. Their partnership was a union of ideals and talents, a synergy that propelled their advocacy forward. As outspoken rebels, they became a thorn in the side of the government, challenging its policies and exposing its flaws. They fearlessly confronted those in power, demanding transparency, justice, and the protection of individual rights. Their actions were not just symbolic, they were a tangible manifestation of their shared vision for a more just and equitable society. Their work extended beyond speeches and investigations. They also organized rallies, wrote influential essays, and engaged in public debates. They understood that change required not only exposing the problems, but also mobilizing people to take action. Their efforts galvanized a growing community of activists and dissenters who saw in the Heretic and Emma champions of a better future. Despite the inevitable opposition and threats they faced, the Heretic and Emma were undeterred. Their partnership was founded on a deep sense of purpose and a shared belief in the transformative power of their ideas. They knew that their journey was not just about themselves, but about the countless others who longed for a society that cherished individuality, justice, and liberty. Together, they stood as a beacon of hope, a testament to the enduring strength of those who dared to challenge the established norms and to demand a world that valued the rights and dignity of every individual. As the Heretic and Emma's advocacy gained increased visibility, it also attracted heightened opposition from those in power. The government and influential figures saw the Heretic as a threat, a voice that needed to be silenced to preserve the status quo. Attempts to discredit him in the media, subtle pressures from powerful figures, and even more overt acts of suppression only served to fuel his determination. The Heretic understood that his path was becoming increasingly treacherous, but he was prepared to face these challenges head-on. He knew that the very nature of dissent invited opposition, and he had long braced himself for the inevitable backlash. The attempts to discredit him in the media were met with resilience. The Heretic remained steadfast in the face of smear campaigns and character assassinations. He knew that the power of his ideas could not be diminished by baseless accusations or falsehoods. His unwavering commitment to justice and liberty was a source of strength that could not be undermined by those who sought to tarnish his reputation. Subtle pressures from influential figures did not sway him either. The Heretic recognized that those in positions of power often used their influence to maintain the status quo. He refused to be intimidated or silenced by those who sought to protect their own interests at the expense of the rights and freedoms of the citizens. Even more overt acts of suppression only solidified his resolve. The Heretic knew that challenging the established order came with risks, and he was willing to face the consequences of his dissent. He understood that the price of silence was a society devoid of critical thought, and he was determined to be a catalyst for change, even in the face of adversity. Emma stood by his side, offering her unwavering support and investigative skills to expose the injustices and abuses of power that sought to silence them. Their partnership was a source of strength, enabling them to navigate the storm of opposition with resilience and determination. The Heretic was not naive about the challenges that lay ahead. He knew that his journey was marked by obstacles and risks. But he was also acutely aware of the power of dissent to effect meaningful change. He believed that in a society that prized conformity, dissent could be the spark that ignited a brighter and more just future. With each passing day, the Heretic's determination grew stronger. He knew that his path was fraught with challenges, but he also understood that the price of his silence was a society that denied its citizens the rights and freedoms they deserved. He was prepared to face the opposition, to endure the pressures, and to continue his relentless pursuit of justice and liberty for all. As the Heretic's influence continued to grow, he became a magnetic force for individuals who shared his ideals and yearned for change. A network of dissent began to form around him, a clandestine gathering of like-minded individuals who recognized the urgency of their mission. They met in secret, their meetings shrouded in the shadows, to discuss strategies for challenging the government's restrictions on the right to travel and other issues that infringed upon individual freedoms. These clandestine gatherings became the crucible where ideas were forged into plans of action. The individuals who gathered shared a common conviction that governments should exist to protect and uphold the rights of their citizens, not to curtail them. They recognized in the Heretic a leader who could articulate their aspirations and galvanize their collective efforts. The network of dissenters spanned a diverse spectrum of society, intellectuals, activists, ordinary citizens, all united by their unwavering belief in the importance of dissent as a catalyst for change. Each member brought their unique skills and perspectives to the table, creating a synergy that made the group more formidable than the sum of its parts. Their discussions delved into the intricacies of government policies and actions that encroached upon individual freedoms, particularly the right to travel. They strategized on how to expose these injustices, how to mobilize public opinion, and how to rally support for their cause. In secret, they circulated underground publications that challenged the prevailing narrative and disseminated alternative perspectives. These publications were a lifeline of information and inspiration for those who hungered for change and sought to stay informed about the group's activities. The Heretic, with his passionate oratory and unyielding commitment to their shared vision, emerged as the de facto leader of this growing network. His speeches served as rallying cries, motivating the dissenters to take action, to question the established norms, and to demand justice and liberty. The clandestine meetings and underground activities were not without risks. The government's watchful eye and its efforts to suppress dissent posed a constant threat. Yet, the network of dissenters remained undeterred, their determination fueled by the belief that their cause was just and that change was possible. As they continued to meet in secret and strategize for a better future, the Heretic and his growing network of like-minded individuals became a powerful force for change, a living testament to the enduring power of dissent in the face of adversity. The Heretic's reputation as an outspoken rebel continued to swell, a testament to his unyielding commitment to his beliefs. His voice resonated with an ever-widening audience, drawing admiration from those who saw in him a symbol of courage and conviction. Yet, with each step along this path of dissent, he remained resolute, knowing that the journey ahead would be fraught with obstacles and formidable opposition. However, the Heretic was undeterred. For him, the path of dissent was not a mere choice, it was a calling to challenge the established order, to question the role of government, and to remind the world that in a society that valued conformity, dissent was the voice of change. The Heretic's journey was not about seeking personal glory or recognition. It was a tireless pursuit of justice, liberty, and a more equitable society. He knew that his mission went beyond himself. It was about the countless individuals who yearned for a world where individual rights were cherished, where government served as a protector rather than an oppressor, and where the voice of dissent was celebrated as a force for progress. His unshakable belief in the transformative power of dissent fueled his determination to continue, regardless of the opposition that swirled around him. He understood that history was replete with examples of individuals who had challenged the status quo and had brought about meaningful change. The Heretic saw himself as part of a long lineage of dissenters, carrying forward the torch of justice and liberty for future generations. The Heretic's path was a rocky one, marked by challenges and risks, but he faced them with a courage born of conviction. He remained steadfast in his commitment to advocate for a society where governments existed to protect and uphold the rights of their citizens, where the right to dissent was sacrosanct, and where conformity was not a virtue but an impediment to progress.